As Korea's summer beach season officially gets underway, Gangwon Province has launched a phase opening of 86 coastal sites, starting with Ayajan Beach in Gosong, with local authorities stepping up safety measures for incoming vacationers.
여름을 맞아 전국 각지 바다들이 본격적으로 손님 맞이에 나선 가운데 강원 동해안 지역에서는 고성의 아야진 해수욕장을 시작으로 86개 해수욕장이 순차적으로 개장에 들어갔고 지역 당국은 피서객들을 위한 안전 대책을 강화하고 있습니다.
Yes. So Ayajin Beach actually opened back on June 12th. And what we're noticing, I think, Sue, is that the beach season, official beach season, is getting longer and longer. I think whether that has to do with global warming, changes in climate, right?
To suit the longer summer seasons.
Yeah, because it seems like beach weather right now. But not only Gangwon Province, but also Jeju Island opened 12 beaches on Tuesday last week. Busan's official beach season launches on Friday, or it did officially launch on Friday,
Right.
Haeundae and Songjeong. And what, of course, this means is that these municipalities are intensifying these safety protocols by putting up watchtowers, lifeguards, safety personnel, offering life jackets to make sure that the summer season for beachgoers is a fun but safe one.
네. 전국 각지의 해수욕장들이요, 이달 중순부터 시작해서 다음 달 중순 정도까지 이제 개장을 합니다. 그리고 이제 8월 중순에서 한 9월 초 정도까지도 계속 개장하는 곳들도 있는데요. 갈수록 이 해수욕장 개장 기간 자체가 좀 길어지고 있고, 그 다음에 개장하는 시기도 앞당겨지고 있는 모습이죠. 아무래도 여름이 길어지고 있다 보니까. Let's have a look at the expression, the beach season gets underway.
Yeah, if something gets underway, it simply means that something is starting. It's beginning to happen.
To get underway라는 것은요, 이제 진행되다, 이제 막 진행되다, 이제 막 시작되다 이런 뜻입니다. So be underway 그러면은 이미 시작됐고 진행되고 있는 거고요. To get underway는 바로 그 시작 단계에 있는 거예요. 그래서 이제 막 개장하기 시작한 해수욕장들이기 때문에 the beach season is getting underway. And what about stepping something up?
Yeah, so to step up has, in this case, what it means is to sort of take responsibility for something, or to increase or to intensify something. But there is that other meaning of taking responsibility for something. You need to step up your leadership, for example. But in this case, you're just increasing or intensifying something.
Yeah, exactly. 강화하다, 증가시키다라는 뜻인데요. 안전조치, 당연히 지금 강화하는 모습이죠. So safety measures are being stepped up. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. As Korea's summer beach season officially gets underway, Gangwon Province has launched a phased opening of 86 coastal sites, starting with Ayajin Beach in Gosong, with local authorities stepping up safety measures for incoming vacationers. Let's move on to headline number 2.
The death toll from the twin earthquakes that struck Venezuela has risen to over 1,400, according to the National Assembly president, with nearly 70,000 people still unaccounted for.
베네수엘라를 강타한 연쇄 지진으로 사망자가 1,400명 넘게 발생했고 실종자 수도 7만 명에 육박한다고 베네수엘라 국회의장이 발표했습니다.
Yeah, some pretty sad scenes coming out of Venezuela last week, right? And the death toll continues to rise. That so-called golden time seems to have come and passed.
Yes.
Officially, we're looking at over 1,400. I think 1,450 is the latest that I've seen on the news wires. But some are saying that the people unaccounted for is nearly 70,000. The UN estimates the property damage and losses at nearly $6.7 billion. That's roughly 6% of the country's entire GDP, believe it or not. And, the entire world is trying to help. Search and rescue teams from the U.S., Mexico, Brazil, France have arrived already to try and help with the rescue efforts and to try and help rebuild the country.
Exactly. 자, 지난주 수요일 날 이렇게 베네수엘라의 back-to-back earthquakes, 지진이 연달아 발생했습니다. 연쇄 지진, 영어로는 twin earthquakes라고 표현을 했는데요. 그로부터 이제 72시간이 골든타임이라고 합니다. 근데 지났습니다. 그런 가운데 지금 사망자는 지금까지 1,450명으로 예상이 된다고 하고, 그 다음에는 이제 지금까지 이제 행방불명, 그러니까 이제, unaccounted for라고 하죠, 영어로는. 네. 이렇게 실종자 수도 상당히 많은 7만 명 정도라고 하는데요. Let's have a look at twin earthquakes. Why use the word twin here?
Yeah, this is sort of a rare occurrence here when two earthquakes occur very close together in time and location. It's different from sort of the aftershocks that we see from one major earthquake. But, in news reporting, oftentimes we'll call it twin earthquakes because we saw this 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude earthquake happen. It's in such a close time and proximity.
그래요. 워낙 이제 가까운 시간 내에 연쇄적으로 발생했기 때문에 영어로는 이제 쌍둥이 지진 이런 표현을 쓰는 거죠.
Yeah.
Because it's so similar.
Yeah, and you said back to back
Yep.
as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. 이제 영어로는 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있겠고 연쇄 지진을 twin earthquakes. 그다음에 이제 실종자가 people who are unaccounted for.
Yeah, so if something's unaccounted for, that means you don't know where it is. It's not found, not located, but more importantly, it's unexplained. It's unknown where the whereabouts are.
그러니까 이게 지금 바로 생사가 불분명하다, 설명이 되지 않는다 이런 표현인데요. 그게 바로 실종이 됐다라는 의미가 되겠고 이걸 또 다르게 표현한다면은 There are nearly 70,000 missing persons.
Yes.
이렇게 표현할 수도 있습니다.
Right. But if you look at the word there, the word accounting is in there because accounting is when you're making sure all the numbers add up. So if something's unaccounted for, that means the numbers just don't add up. There are people missing here.
Exactly. CNN and other major media outlets are saying the latest death toll is 1,450, but we don't know if that is the final count.
Probably not.
자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The death toll from the twin earthquakes that struck Venezuela has risen to over 1,400, according to the National Assembly president, with nearly 70,000 people still unaccounted for.
A so-called Omega heat dome trapping hot air from North Africa has brought record-breaking temperatures and multiple casualties to Northern Europe, while also causing nearly all newly formed glaciers in the Swiss Alps to melt away.
북아프리카에서 유입된 뜨거운 공기가 장기간 갇혀있는 이른바 오메가 열돔 현상으로 인해 북유럽에서도 역대 최고 기온이 잇따라 경신되고 다수의 인명피해가 나온 가운데 스위스 알프스에서는 지난 겨울 생성된 빙하가 거의 다 녹아내린 것으로 관측됐습니다.
Yeah, we talked about last week how the UK and France was having this heat wave, but now it's spreading throughout all of Europe. I don't know if you've seen the scenes of people trying to get their hands on these portable air conditioners, people fighting because they're not used to this sort of weather. Germany, Denmark, the Czech Republic, all seeing sort of this record-breaking temperature in Germany and the Czech Republic hitting as high as over 40 degrees. Nearly 193 million people across Europe are currently under this extreme sort of heat dome. And like the headline suggests, Swiss media is also reporting that the glaciers in the Swiss Alps are melting at the second earliest date in the 21st century, enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool every 6 seconds, believe it or not.
Yeah. We have to remember that a lot of houses in Europe don't have air conditioning. So it's probably harder to bear this heat right now.
Yeah, I hear they're actually more designed to keep in the heat because of colder weather.
Yeah, exactly. And during the summertime, I guess it kind of worked the other way around, whereas, where the coolness was retained inside the house, but it's not cool enough. It's not as cool as an air conditioner,
of course.
Right? And because the outside heat is quite severe. There have been casualties, as you said. The ice is melting. My goodness, let's have a look. It's called the Omega Dome because it looks like an Omega.
Yeah, I was going to say, it comes up from North Africa in the shape of the Greek letter Omega.
Okay. Multiple casualties. Multiple.
Yeah, usually multiple just means more than one, but it implies several rather than just two. So you could say for something that's two, depending on the context, it's multiple, but usually it means just many.
다수의, multiple이라고 합니다. 그래서 우리 오지선다라든지 이렇게 이제 시험 볼 때 있잖아요. multiple choice question이라고 해요. 그게 이제 multiple이니까 이게 뭐 사지선 다형이 될 수도 있고 오지선 다형이 될 수도 있는데 어쨌든 이제 한 개 이상의 그 answer choice가 있기 때문에 multiple choice question이라고 얘기를 하죠. 여기서는 multiple casualties입니다. 다수의 인명피해가 발생했다. What about a newly formed glacier?
Yeah, something that's recently created or established, you could say.
Yeah. Newly, 새로이, formed, 생성이 되다, 형성이 된, 그래서 새로 만들어진, 새로 형성된 그런 빙하조차도 벌써 녹고 있다. 이런 얘기를 하고 있는 거죠. Let me read it one more time. A so-called Omega heat dome trapping hot air from North Africa has brought record-breaking temperatures and multiple casualties to northern Europe, while also causing nearly all newly formed glaciers in the Swiss Alps to melt away. All right, let's move on to headline number 4.
IBM has revealed the world's first sub-1 nanometer semiconductor chip technology featuring a fingernail-sized chip that holds nearly 100 billion transistors with structures smaller than a DNA strand and expects it to enter the market within the next 5 years.
미국 IT 기업 IBM이 세계 최초로 1나노 이하 반도체 공정 기술을 공개했습니다. 이는 손톱만한 칩에 약 1000억 개의 트랜지스터를 DNA 가닥보다도 작은 구조로 집적한 것으로 IBM 측은 이를 향후 5년 내에 상용화하겠다는 계획입니다. Right, great news in the chip world.
Sure. A transistor is basically it's the basic building block of these sort of modern electronic circuits. I remember my grandfather would always say transistor radio. I remember when a transistor radio first came out. But this newly developed chip packs nearly 100 billion of these transistors.
Exactly.
And it's smaller than a DNA strand. But what they say is it offers up to 70% greater energy efficiency and double the density of its former chip. And it uses this nano-stacked sort of design that vertically stacks and staggers 2 layers of transistors. But they do say that it's still a little short of coming to the market because they still need to resolve hurdles like thermal noise and integration into high-performance computing systems before its commercial release.
Exactly. 자, 이 DNA strand, DNA 가닥보다도 작은 구조로 이렇게 그 작은 칩에다가 여러 가지 트랜지스터를 심어 놓은 거죠. 표현 좀 보겠습니다. Transistor, you already explained it.
Yeah.
But,
It sort of controls or amplifies the flow of electrical current in these electrical circuits. And again, it's one of the most important inventions in modern technology, they say.
Exactly. 트랜지스터. 우리도 사실 외래어로 트랜지스터라고 합니다만 이제 전기 신호를 증폭하거나 차단 또는 전달하는 그런 이제 반도체 소자의 핵심 구성 요소가 되겠고 entering the market.
Yeah. A common business expression, right? It means a company or a product or a brand, right? Starts operating or competing in a new market.
그래요. 시장에 진입하다. enter the market. 그래서 상용화된다는 뜻으로 it's expected to enter the market within about 5 years or so.
And we call it a commercial release if
Yes.
it's to the public, right?
그렇죠. 상용화한다라는 것을 이제 또 다른 말로 it will be commercially released
Right.
in about 5 years.
Right. Prior to that, there might be a beta release, as they say
Sure.
a lot of times, right? As a testing phase.
Exactly. 자, 다시 읽어보겠습니다. IBM has revealed the world's first sub-1 nanometer semiconductor chip technology, featuring a fingernail-sized chip that holds nearly 100 billion transistors, with structures smaller than a DNA strand, and expects it to enter the market within the next 5 years. Let's move on to our final headline.
A study finds that exposure to cooking fumes accelerates brain changes linked to Alzheimer's disease, prompting health authorities to emphasize the critical need for proper ventilation during cooking.
음식 조리 시 발생하는 초미세먼지에 노출될 경우 알츠하이머병과 관련된 뇌 변화가 가속화된다는 연구 결과가 발표돼 보건당국이 조리 시 제대로 된 환기가 반드시 필요하다고 당부했습니다.
Yeah, so next time you go have barbecue, make sure you have proper ventilation because this study done on animals thus far suggests that these cooking fumes may contribute to neurodegenerative diseases like dementia because more specifically these ultrafine particles altered a part of the brain that handles memory and learning and sort of your how you move, I guess you could say. Spatial memory is what I should call it. And it also slowed, sort of reduced environmental recognition and disrupted neuronal signaling in these animals. So what the KDCA suggests is using exhaust systems, of course, and ventilation to lower sort of indoor exposure risks.
Sure. 자, 요리할 때, 이제 초미세먼지가 발생한다라는 것은 알기는 아는데 우리가 밖에 초미세먼지 농도가 뭐 상당히 높다. 뭐 할 때는 마스크 잘 착용하지만 집 안에서 요리할 때는 뭐 그렇게까지 신경을 많이 안 썼을 수도 있어요. 그동안에 이제 환풍기 잘 틀으셨던 분들은 또 너무나 잘하셨는데 앞으로는 반드시 환기를 잘 시키면서 집에서 요리를 하셔야겠습니다. 이게 단순히 우리 기관지에만 안 좋은 게 아니라 뇌 변화가 이제 안 좋은 방향으로 가속화될 수 있다고 하니까요.
Although we should note that this was a study based just on lab animals thus far, and more studies are required to verify the exact relevance to humans.
Exactly. Alright. 일단은 뭐 초미세먼지 하면은 보통 이제 영어로 이게 technical, 과학적으로 이렇게 엄밀히 썼을 때는 PM 2.5 이렇게 쓰기도 하거든요.
Yeah.
네, 그때 이제 그걸 우리는 그냥 초미세먼지라고 하면 되는데 PM이 particulate matter.
Particulate.
이죠.
Yes.
네. 근데 머리카락이 보통은 한 50에서 70 마이크로미터라고 해요. 그런데 이 particulate matter는 그거보다 30배 이상 작은 겁니다.
Okay. So invisible to the naked eye,
exactly.
right?
You can't see it. Yeah. All right. If something is emphasized or if you emphasize something, what are you doing?
Right. Authorities here are emphasizing, meaning they're making something stand out, right? Especially important. They're stressing it or they're highlighting it.
당국이 강조하고 있어요. 강조하다라는 의미의 emphasize가 나왔는데 the critical need for something. critical은 여기서 정말 중대하다, 너무나 이제 중요하다라는 의미로 반드시 이렇게 해야 됩니다라는 것을 강조 또는 당부하고 있는 건데 뭐냐면요. proper ventilation.
Yeah, so not just ventilation. It needs to be proper, meaning it needs to be suitable, it needs to be appropriate to the context, right?
그래요. 그래서 proper라는 것은 이제 제대로 된, 적절한 이런 뜻이 있기 때문에 뒤에 나오는 환기시키는 것. proper ventilation. 제대로 환기를 시켜야 된다라는 뜻이죠. proper가 또 우리 영문법에서 우리 뭐 고유명사 할 때 proper noun이라고 합니다. 보통 명사는 what's the 보통 명사? Oh my goodness. I forgot the word now.
Regular noun?
아니요, 그거 아니고. 네, common noun? 갑자기 단어가 생각이 안 나는데, 고유 명사는 어쨌든 proper noun이에요. 그러니까 뭐, 브랜드 이름이라든지 이런 것들이, 가끔은 이제 보통 명사로 변하기도 하죠.
Of course.
그래서 proper nouns and a common noun, 맞네요. 네,
common
noun. 네. Thank you, 작가님. 네, 이렇게 변하기도 합니다. 그래서 그 고유의 의미도 있는데, 여기서는 이제 뭐, 제대로 된, 적절한 환기. 반드시 해라. 이렇게 당국에서 당부하고 있습니다.
Yeah, I've noticed the UK in Britain, they use the word proper a lot more. So something is proper. If I hear,
그렇죠.
listen to sports, in proper form, it just seems because
제대로 된.
you just don't use it in North America as much, I don't think.
You need proper manners.
Yeah, exactly.
제대로 매너를 지키고
Yes.
식사를 해라. 뭐 이렇게 말할 수도 있겠고요. proper입니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A study finds that exposure to cooking fumes accelerates brain changes linked to Alzheimer's disease, prompting health authorities to emphasize the critical need for proper ventilation during cooking. Well, that's it for the headlines this morning with Shane Harm.
Korea recorded a historic 18% year-on-year increase in births in April, with over 24,000 babies born, marking an unprecedented turnaround despite the country's overall net population decline.
올해 4월 국내 출생아 수가 2만 4천 명을 넘어서면서 1년 전보다 18% 증가해 역대 최대 증가율을 기록했습니다. 이는 전체 인구가 지속적으로 감소하는 가운데 나타난 전례 없는 증가세입니다.
It's brilliant news.
Yes.
Lots of babies. Well, certainly more babies than before. 24,521 babies born in April. That's up 18% year on year. And that means in the first 4 months of 2026, it's the highest number of babies we've had in 7 years, almost 100,000, 99,534. And that's an increase of 15.5% on year. So very, very good news. Fertility rates are also improving. We've got a rise in marriages, so things are looking up when it comes to babies. But at the same time, the number of deaths in Korea is still outnumbering the number of births. So we do have a net population decline.
Exactly. 자, 그러면은 표현을 좀 볼 텐데요. There's been a turnaround.
Yes, if there's a turnaround or something turns around, then there is a reversal of whatever the situation was in the first place. It's 180 degrees. So it goes from good to bad or bad to good or better to worse, depending what it is.
네, 그래요. 여기서 말하는 이 turnaround라는 거는요. 이제 일단 명사고요. 호전, 회복을 얘기합니다. 정말 이제 한 방향으로 가다가 몸을 180도 돌려서 방향을 바꾼 것 같은 이런 느낌이라고 볼 수 있겠죠. 여기서는 this is an unprecedented turnaround라고 하고 있는데요. 전반적으로 봤을 때는 인구가 줄고 있지만 출생아 수가 그래도 그나마 조금 오르고 있는 모습이기 때문에 굉장히 다른 방향으로 가고 있다.
네.
이렇게 볼 수 있을 것 같고요. What about overall net population decline?
Well, the population is the number of people. Decline means a decrease. It's going down.
Yep.
And we're talking about the net population decline. And that's
Yeah.
where we take the number of people plus the number of births minus the number of deaths in that period. And that gives us the net population. So when we do that calculation, we see even though there are more babies being born, there are still more people dying at the same time. So there is a decline.
네. 이 숫자와 관련해서 특히 경제 뉴스에서 net가 들어가면은 총 아니면 순 이렇게 번역을 하죠. 그래서 여기서는 전체적인 순 인구 감소, overall net population decline 이라고 할 수 있습니다. 뭐 순이익 같은 표현도 영어로는 net profit라고 하는 것처럼 net가 쓰였다고 볼 수 있겠고요. 또 참고로 인구 자연 감소는 영어로 natural decrease of population or natural decrease라고 표현할 수 있습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Korea recorded a historic 18% year-on-year increase in births in April with over 24,000 babies born, marking an unprecedented turnaround despite the country's overall net population decline. Okay, let's move on to the second headline.
The United Nations Development Programme has assessed that last week's twin earthquakes in Venezuela caused $6.7 billion in direct economic losses, equivalent to roughly 6% of the country's GDP.
지난주 베네수엘라를 강타한 연쇄 강진으로 인한 직접적인 피해액이 67억 달러, 우리 돈으로 약 10조 3천억 원으로 베네수엘라 국내 총생산의 거의 6%에 해당한다는 UN 개발 계획 UNDP의 잠정 평가가 나왔습니다. Yeah, I mean, it's so tragic and unfortunate what happened, the earthquakes and casualties because of that, but also economically, it's a huge loss.
Well, the thing is, we don't actually know how big the loss may be. What we have is this initial number for the direct physical damage coming from the UNDP, the United Nations Development Programme. That's 6% of Venezuela's GDP. But that doesn't include the wider disruptions that may have taken place. It focuses more on what happened and the damage was done physically by the earthquake. It doesn't include rebuilding costs and other issues like that. So we could be looking at a much bigger bill, something like 1.5 times to 3 times this original estimate. We're talking about a lot of money needed to get Venezuela back on its feet.
Yep.
It's buildings that have been damaged. It's infrastructure damaged. It's essential services that are unable to function. There's a lot going on and a lot needs to be done.
Yeah, definitely. And can I quickly correct myself? Earlier
yes.
on, I said net is sun, and then I think said 총 in Korean, which is not net.
Okay.
총 is gross. So here we have gross domestic product.
Yes.
국내 총 생산. 그래서 이제 이 gross라는 단어가 들어갔을 때 총이고요. 그다음에 net가 들어갔을 때는 순이 되겠습니다. 이제 경제 용어로서 이거는 그냥 외워야죠. So, yeah, 베네수엘라의 국내 총생산 GDP의 한 6%에 해당되는 손실액이 이번 지진들로 인해서 발생한 겁니다. 그 피해액이요. 67억 달러, 우리 돈으로 10조 3천억 원 정도라고 합니다. In yesterday's news, we looked at the number of casualties, and as you said, this is an ongoing story.
Yes.
It's a developing story, is
It
how
is.
we describe it in the news. 우리가 보통 뉴스에서 아직도 이제 끝나지 않은 지금도 계속해서 업데이트가 되고 있는 그런 뉴스일 때는 This is a developing story라고 하는데요. 그러다 보니까 인명피해도 계속해서 이제 업데이트가 되고 있습니다. 어쩌면은 경제적인 피해액도 늘어날 수도 있고요. 굉장히 안타깝습니다. 자, 표현을 한번 볼게요. Equivalent to something.
Well, if something is the equivalent to something else, it is the same as. So when we're talking about numbers, in this case, we're talking about $6.7 billion is equivalent to, is the same as 6% of the country's GDP.
네, 뭐뭐에 해당한다, 뭐뭐에 상응한다라고 할 때 it's equivalent to something. 그래서 이제 67억 달러 피해액이라고 했는데요. 그렇게만 말하면은 사실 딱 바로 감이 안 올 수 있기 때문에 this is equivalent to 10조 원. 우리 돈으로는 한 10조 원에 해당된다. 이렇게 보면 되겠고요. And what about the word roughly?
Roughly, we use it, we can talk about being physically roughly or softly, but here it means approximate. When we're using it for figures and for estimates, if we say, oh, it's roughly about this much or roughly that much, we're saying we don't have an exact figure, but we're giving a figure that's close to what it really is.
그래요. 자, roughly라는 건 대략이라는 뜻입니다. approximately랑 같은 뜻이죠. 그러니까 여기서 그 67억 달러라는 것이 대략적으로 베네수엘라 GDP의 한 6%에 해당된다라고 했기 때문에 여기서 the $6.7 billion is equivalent to roughly 6% of the country's GDP.
Yeah, it could be 5.9, it could be 6.1, it's about that much.
대략적으로. Okay. 그러면 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The United Nations Development Programme, or the UNDP, has assessed that last week's twin earthquakes in Venezuela caused $6.7 billion in direct economic losses, equivalent to roughly 6% of the country's GDP.
Europe's unprecedented early summer heatwave has once again broken temperature records again across the continent, including in Germany, Poland and the Czech Republic, with the World Health Organization reporting that over 1,300 excess deaths linked to extreme hot conditions have been recorded since June 21st.
최근 유럽을 강타한 유례없는 초여름 폭염으로 독일, 폴란드, 체코를 포함한 유럽 전역에서 최고 기온 기록이 다시 한번 경신된 가운데 세계보건기구 WHO는 6월 21일 이후 유럽에서 고온 관련 초과 사망자가 1,300명을 넘는 것으로 집계됐다고 발표했습니다. Oh dear.
Yeah, and it's really quite scary. We're seeing heat waves all over the world, but in Europe in particular, it seems to be happening at twice the global average rate. It's happening a lot more frequently. And the temperatures it reached last week, we're talking Germany was up at 41.7 degrees, the Czech Republic 41.1, and Poland at 40.5. Poland broke its national record with that one. And the biggest issue is vulnerable groups are very vulnerable to heat.
Yeah,
and
over 65.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So it is the OAPs, elder people, old age pensioners that are suffering the most. The WHO has reported over 1,300 excess deaths connected to this heat wave or these heat waves. And so lots of emergency measures are coming into place. Events are being cancelled, heat warnings are going out, schools are being closed, not just in these three countries, in the UK as well, there have been school closures. And there are all sorts of restrictions being introduced so that they can protect people as best they can.
Yeah.
It's a very serious situation. And, hopefully Europe will get out of this heat wave. The issue is there's a heat dome effect. The hot air gets trapped and then it sinks and then it heats up and then it sinks and it heats up, gets hotter and hotter and hotter. Europe is really in a pickle right now.
It is in a pickle. It's in a very difficult situation. 유럽의 그 뜨거운 공기돔, 열돔이라고 하죠. 이게 동쪽으로 계속 이동을 하고 있기는 합니다만 지금 그 파급 효과가 상당히 지금 치명적입니다. WHO에 의하면은 6월 21일 이후 1,300여 명의 초과 사망자가 나왔다라고 하는데요. 프랑스에서만 이제 한 사흘에 걸쳐서 1,000명 정도의 사망자가 나왔는데 이 중 85%가 65세 이상 고령자라고 했어요. OAP라는 표현을 선생님이 조금 전에 하셨는데 Old Aged Pensioner 라고 해서 연금 수령자 이런 의미도 있습니다만 그냥 고령자라는 뜻으로 영국에선 많이 쓰죠. 자, 이렇게 너무 이제 치명적으로 더운 유럽입니다. This is happening across the continent of Europe.
Yes. So the continent, we talk about continents like Europe, Asia, North America, South America, Central America. And if something is happening across the continent, it means for the whole of the continent, not just in one area, not just in a couple of areas, but in every area.
And because the word Europe was already used in this sentence, they avoided using it again. But the continent means Europe.
Exactly, yes. So we often refer to the continent's name rather than just say the continent, but to avoid clunky language. If we've already used it once, we can use a different expression to make the phrase smoother.
Yeah, so in this context, it's Europe. But if we had a news story about Asia, if we had a story about Africa, then if we said the continent, then those continents would be Asia or Africa.
Exactly. People are celebrating the World Cup all across the continent of North America.
Yes, exactly. 자, 여기서 across the continent는 그 대륙 곳곳에서, 근데 그 대륙이 지금 유럽 얘기가 앞에서 먼저 나왔기 때문에 유럽 대륙이라고 이해가 되죠. And what about excess deaths?
So governments have numbers and tallies and predictions as to how many people may die. And there is an expected number of people dying every day, every week, every month, every year. Excess deaths is when there are more people dying than expected. So in this case, if there's a heat wave, they didn't expect this many people to die, but because of the heat wave, more people have died, and they're referred to as excess deaths.
excess가 초과라는 뜻이 있고요. excess deaths는 그래서 초과 사망자가 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Europe's unprecedented early summer heat wave has once again broken temperature records again across the continent, including in Germany, Poland, and the Czech Republic, with the World Health Organization reporting that over 1,300 excess deaths linked to extreme hot conditions have been recorded since June 21st. I believe one of those agains should have been taken out of the sentence. It was redundant. My apologies there. Let's move on to the next headline.
The European Union's new biometric entry-exit system has triggered severe airport immigration congestion, with kiosk malfunctions and duplicate checks pushing wait times up to 6 hours ahead of the peak summer travel season.
유럽연합이 도입한 새로운 생체 인식 기반 출입국 시스템 EES가 자동 등록 키오스크의 오작동 및 중복 검사 발생으로 대기 시간이 6시간까지도 늘어나는 등 여름 성수기를 앞두고 현지 공항 입국 절차에 심각한 혼잡을 초래하고 있습니다. Now, I thought these systems were supposed to help speed up the process.
Yes, but often a new complex system has teething troubles,
Yes.
has initial problems, and that seems to be the case here. The EES, the entry-exit system, should be smoother, hopefully soon. It's using fingerprints and facial recognition for non-EU travellers, but there are issues with the system itself. There's technical issues, there's malfunctioning kiosks, sometimes there are duplicate checks going on, but also there are wider problems at these immigration points across Europe. There are staff shortages, there's limited infrastructure, and quite frankly, there's perhaps not enough preparation for the new system coming in. So hopefully things will get sorted out, but certainly for the people travelling to Europe who are not European in the early summer, it could be a bit of a bumpy ride.
Exactly. And of course, the summertime is when a lot of people travel.
Yes, and a lot of people like to go to Europe.
Exactly. 자, 이 출입국 시스템을 EES라고 하는데요. 영어로는 Entry Exit System입니다. EES. 근데 생체 인식 기반이고 그러다 보니까 사실 원래는 더 빨리 출입국 그 프로세스를 진행할 수 있도록 해야지 맞는데 지금 여러 가지 이유로 인해서 시간이 너무 지체가 되고 있는 겁니다. 그래서 많게는 정말 입국 대기 6시간까지도
네.
발생하고 있는데 일단 키오스크 오류 문제도 발생했다고 하고요. 중복 검사 사례도 있었다고 하고 또 워낙에 사람이 많으니까 이제 혼잡 이런 것들이 다 복합적으로 작용을 한 것 같습니다. 성수기 동안에 이 절차를 아예 좀 중단해야 되는 거 아니냐, 이런 얘기까지도 나오고 있는데, 자, 표현을 좀 볼까요? 출입국 심사 정체는 immigration congestion이고, 오작동은 영어로 뭘까요? 오작동?
Malfunction.
Malfunction.
And if there's a malfunction, something's gone wrong. Something has broken down. We usually use it for machinery, computers. We can also use it for ourselves sometimes, for our own brains. But if there is a malfunction, it means something has gone wrong.
Yep.
The thing, the machine, the computer, the kiosk, whatever it is not working properly.
When you see the prefix mal,
Yes.
you can normally associate it with something bad.
You can, because the French word for bad is mal.
Mal, exactly. 자, malfunction, 오작동 한 단어입니다. And duplicate checks.
Yes, a duplicate check is when something gets checked twice, gets checked again. Anything that is a duplicate or that gets duplicated is double the original number, for good or for bad.
Duplicate checks는 중복 심사. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The European Union's new biometric entry-exit system, the EES, has triggered severe airport immigration congestion, with kiosk malfunctions and duplicate checks, pushing wait times up to 6 hours ahead of the peak summer travel season. Let's move on to our final headline.
A giraffe who absconded from a private game ranch in rural Texas, US, and effectively went missing for nearly 2 weeks, has been found safe, just a few kilometers away from the homestead, according to local authorities.
야생동물을 키우는 미국 텍사스주의 한 사설 목장에서 탈출한 후 거의 2주 동안 실종 상태였던 기린 한 마리가 목장에서 불과 몇 킬로미터 떨어진 인근 지역에서 무사히 발견됐다고 현지 당국이 발표했습니다. Alright, so a giraffe went missing for a while.
Hey, username Gracie.
Okay.
Gracie the giraffe.
Okay.
And she's okay. It should be said everything is all right. It didn't seem that she wanted to escape. It seems like it was an accidental escape, just wandering out and ended up getting out of the ranch through a gate, and that was it. And she didn't have any problems. She had access to food and water, to vegetation around. So she's all right. But I think everybody was really worried. There were helicopters sent out. There were drones sent out.
Yeah.
Everyone in the area was looking for her. There was a reward put out for her safe return. Luckily, she has been found. And I think everybody was quite curious about this, because who imagines a giraffe being in the middle of Texas?
Exactly. And first of all, I was a bit puzzled as to how a giraffe could actually go missing for 2 weeks, because, they're very tall.
Yes.
And, they're normally they stand out. But
Sue,
I guess this is a rural area. It's wooded. There are trees.
There's a reason why a giraffe has spots. It's camouflage.
Okay,
They are prey. The lions love a giraffe leg.
Okay.
And so there's good reason why maybe she couldn't be found.
Yep.
She was probably just
hiding.
wandering amongst the trees.
Okay, got it. 여기서 game ranch라는 표현이 나오는데요. 이 game이라는 게 사냥감이라는 뜻이 있어요. 그렇죠?
Yes, but I don't think anybody is hunting Gracie. I think the game ranch can also just be for exotic animals, a place where they have all sorts of animals that they're breeding or raising, perhaps for hunting.
Exactly. 그래서 원래 이제 동물회관에서 game이라고 하면은 사냥감인데 game ranch는 수렵 목장. 근데 이걸 조금 더 이 맥락에 맞게 해석을 하면은 그냥 야생 동물을 키우는 private ranch니까 사설 목장 이런 정도로 해석을 하면 되겠고요. 이 기린이 뭘 했다고요? Absconded?
Yes, I haven't used this word in a couple of decades, I think. But
What
it
does
is
it mean?
used. It means to escape, to run away, to get away. So yes, if someone absconds, they get out. They leave in some way when they weren't supposed to, or leave without people's knowledge.
네, 무단 이탈하는 것을 abscond 한다라고 합니다. The spelling is abscond. Abscond from somewhere. So this giraffe absconded from the private game ranch, and it was missing for nearly 2 weeks. But later, it was found, and it wasn't too far away from the homestead.
Yes. Now, you and I, Sue, we do not live in homesteads. No. I don't think this word is applicable for us because we don't live in the countryside and we don't live in a single building that has land. When we think of a homestead, we think of a ranch or a farm. It's a country house, usually owned by farmers or ranchers that has land attached to it.
농가주택을요, homestead라고 합니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. A giraffe who absconded from a private game ranch in rural Texas in the US has effectively went missing for nearly 2 weeks, has been found safe, in fact, just a few kilometers away from the homestead, according to local authorities. Right, well, that's it for the headlines this morning.
Korea's monsoon season has begun with rain hitting Jeju Island before spreading to the southern coast, while a severe heat wave continues to intensify across the central region due to the delayed arrival of the monsoon.
장맛비가 제주에 이어 남해안까지 확산하면서 본격 장마철이 시작됐습니다. 하지만 올해 장마 시작일이 예년보다 늦어짐에 따라 중부지방은 찜통더위가 계속 기승을 부리는 모습입니다. Alright, so a lot of rain pouring down in the southern regions, and we're expecting the same in the central regions. I guess from maybe this evening, in the next few days. What's going on?
Yeah, so I remember thinking that, this year's monsoon is going to go on through June, but it's been delayed.
Yeah.
So they're saying that the first monsoon rains of the season are expected to begin on Jeju Island before spreading to the southern coast, perhaps today, maybe in the next couple of days. As the seasonal rain front moves north, Jeju could receive more than 180 millimeters of rain in the mountainous areas, with intense downpours of up to 30 millimeters per hour and possible heavy rain advisories. The rain is expected to end along the southern coast by Wednesday night, while Jeju may continue to see showers into early Thursday. Meanwhile, the central region, including the Seoul metropolitan area, remains under expanding heat wave advisories. It's been quite hot as the monsoon's arrival has been delayed, with authorities urging people to take precautions against heat-related illnesses, try to stay indoors, try to stay in shaded areas if possible.
We did receive some bouts of rain in the central regions, in the capital area, a few weeks ago, I think it was. However, the monsoon season has now officially begun with rain in Jeju yesterday, and it's moving upwards. 그래요. 어제부터 제주에서 이제 장마철이 본격적으로 시작이 됐다라고 볼 수 있겠고요. 계속해서 이제 장마전선이 북상하면서 남부지방 또 이제 점차 중부지방까지 영향을 미치겠죠. 남부지방은 이제 southern regions. 중부지방은 central regions 이렇게 얘기를 할 수 있겠고요. We are of course talking about, the capital area included when we talk about the central region.
Right.
And, the heat is just it's
been
been brutal.
intense,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at the heat wave intensifying.
When something intensifies, it means that it's become stronger, more extreme, or more acute. So it describes this process of escalation, whether it involves worsening conditions or heightened it could be emotions as well, or an increasing force of some sort of action.
intensifying은 이제 심해진다라는 뜻이 있습니다. 격화된다라는 건데요. 폭염이 계속해서 이제 중부지방을 중심으로 더욱더 기승을 부리고 있다. The severe heat wave continues to intensify across the central region. 왜 그러냐면 due to the delayed arrival of the monsoon. What's
Yeah.
a delayed arrival, Karen?
It's a fancy way to say that it's late. So when there's been a delayed arrival, you could be talking about planes. You could
Yes.
be talking about some sort of form of transportation. So it could be for a person as well, a package as well. So when something has arrived at a destination later than scheduled, expected, or at an agreed upon time, you could say that it's a delayed arrival.
맞아요. 공항에 가서 뭐라 그러나요? 그거를 사인보드,
Yeah.
거기에 보면은 이제 각각의 항공편이 지금 어떻게 진행이 되고 있는지가 나오잖아요. 거기에 이제 delayed라고 써 있으면은 지연, cancelled라고 써 있으면 결항. 그다음에 이제 도착은 arrived.
Or I could say on time. Yeah.
제 시간에
Yeah.
도착했으면 on time도 있어요.
Yeah.
그렇군요. 그다음에 이제 뭐 탑승하기 전에 탑승 중이다라고 할 때는 보통 boarding 이렇게 공항에서 항공편들이 쓰는 이제 특정한 표현들이 있죠. 거기서 delayed가 지연이니까 여기선 delayed arrival of the monsoon. 장마철이 너무 늦게 왔다. 평소에 비해서. 그러다 보니 중부지방이 상대적으로 굉장히 덥다는 얘기를 하고 있습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Korea's monsoon season has begun with rain hitting Jeju Island before spreading to the southern coast, while a severe heat wave continues to intensify across the central region due to the delayed arrival of the monsoon. Let's move on to the second headline.
S&P Global Ratings has raised Korea's economic growth forecast to nearly 3% due to a powerful AI-driven semiconductor export boom expected to last 2 to 3 years, overcoming milder than expected energy shocks stemming from the Middle East crisis.
S&P 글로벌 신용평가가 올해 한국의 경제 성장률 전망치를 3%에 육박하는 수준으로 상향했습니다. 이는 중동발 에너지 쇼크가 예상보다 크지 않은 데다 인공지능 수요에 기반한 지금의 강력한 반도체 수출 호황이 앞으로 최소 2, 3년간 지속될 것으로 전망된 데 따른 것입니다. Good news for Korea then.
Yeah. So, the S&P Global Ratings, they raised it to 2.9%, and they've cited a milder than expected Middle East energy shock and booming AI-driven semiconductor exports. And they're expecting this semiconductor supercycle to continue through 2027, with strong memory chip demand remaining the key growth driver for South Korea. S&P also raised its 2027 outlook to 2.2%, noting that Korea's forecast is stronger than market expectations, but still realistic. While analysts warn that heavy investment in AI could pose risks if demand weakens, they say the current outlook does not threaten financial stability.
전망 outlook에 대한 얘기인데요. 우리나라 이제 경제 성장률을 기존에는 1% 후반대로 전망했다가 이번에는 2.9%, 거의 3% 가까이로 상향 조정을 했습니다. 그만큼 긍정적으로 앞을 내다보고 있다는 뜻인데 export boom 덕분이다. We're talking about the semiconductor export boom. What's an export boom?
Well, an export boom is a rapid, substantial increase in the volume or value of a country's goods and services that is sold to foreign markets.
수출 호황을 export boom이라고 하고요. 만약에 이제 뭐 다른 것에 대한 이제 호황 얘기를 한다든지 많이 늘어난 것을 얘기한다면 또 역시 boom을 붙일 수 있어서 옛날에는 또 2차 전쟁 이후에 베이비 붐이
Yes.
있었죠. What about milder than expected?
Milder than expected. So this describes a situation or an event or a condition that turns out to be significantly less severe or harsh or intense than what people had originally anticipated.
예상보다는 타격이 덜하다라는 뜻으로 milder than expected. 이 mild라는 게 순하다라는 뜻이 있어서 우리 음식 얘기할 때도요. 좀 덜 맵게 그 맵기를 얘기할 때 you know curry or whatever some spicy food
Yeah.
you know can have different levels of spiciness
Yeah.
and you might prefer the milder version or the very spicy level or version 이렇게 mild는 좀 맛이 좀 순하다 그런 의미가 될 수도 있고요. What else? Mild
Weather.
그러니까 날씨가 좀 포근하고 좋을 때 그때도 mild weather 쓸 수 있는데 지금은 이제 경제 성장률 얘기하면서 milder than expected energy shocks from the Middle East crisis. 중동 전쟁으로 인한 그 파급 효과가 생각보다는 크지 않다. 이런 얘기를 하고 있는 겁니다.
Yep.
자, 그러면 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. S&P Global Ratings has raised Korea's economic growth forecast to nearly 3% due to a powerful AI-driven semiconductor export boom expected to last 2 to 3 years, overcoming milder than expected energy shocks stemming from the Middle East crisis.
The original form of the Imjin War-era turtle ship has been scientifically identified for the first time in more than 230 years through research based on historical literature, naval engineering, and structural modeling.
임진왜란 당시 거북선의 원형을 문헌 분석, 조선공학적 검증, 모형 제작 등의 과정을 거쳐 230년 만에 처음 과학적으로 규명한 보고서가 나왔습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, I can't say modeling today. It's the most difficult word.
Yeah.
But yeah, South Korean researchers, they say that they have scientifically identified the original design of the famed Kobuksun or turtle ship for the first time in more than 230 years. So a new restoration report found that both the Tongyong and Jeolla left naval command turtle ships were about 35.3 meters long and they weighed roughly 140 tons, but they served different roles. The former could use sails, while the latter was a row-powered warship built specifically for combat. And the study also reinterpreted several design features, identifying previously assumed entrances as observation platforms and suggesting that rowers likely operated the oars while seated.
Yeah, because there was some speculation or I guess people maybe guessing that the rowers may have rowed standing up.
Yeah.
But now we know through this latest study that they would have been seated.
Yep.
그러니까 노를 젓는 군사들이요. 예전에는 혹시 서서 노를 젓지 않았을까? 이렇게 생각을 했었는데 이번에 새로 밝혀진 바에 의하면은 그러지 않았을 것이다. 앉아서 노를 젓는 그런 이제 좌식 방식을 썼을 것이다라는 것까지도 어느 정도 밝혀졌고요.
Yeah.
이게 1795년 그 당시의 기록과 여러 가지 이제 요즘의 기술을 활용해서 그때 당시의 거북선을 30분의 1 맞나요? 굉장히 작은 규모로 이제 축소해서 원형을 복원하는 이렇게 미니처 버전으로 만들어 가지고 또 볼 수 있게 했다고 하는데
They're going to display it in Busan this month.
Yeah, wow. It's really, really exciting. Let's have a look at the expression historical literature.
Yeah. So historical literature is they're written works that focus on historical events, figures, and era. So historical basically means it pertains to history or the past. So it describes things that really happened in the past rather than being fictional or refers to the study and documentation of past events.
네. 우리가 학문적으로 literature라고 하면은 문학이 아니라 문헌이 됩니다. 그래서 여러 가지 자료들을 얘기하고 있는 건데요. historical literature가 역시 역사적인 그런 문헌, 그러니까 사료가 되겠죠. 자, 그 다음에는 이제 naval engineering은 이건 뭘까요?
So that's a multidisciplinary field that encompasses the research, design, construction, operation, and maintenance of surface and subsurface ships, marine vessels, and offshore structures.
Yeah, exactly. Naval이라고 하면은 이제 배와 관련됐다라고 볼 수 있겠죠. 그다음에 engineering이라는 건 공학이니까 조선공학을 여기서 얘기하고 있는 겁니다. 배를 설계하고 건조하는 그 기술을 다룬 그런 공학이 되겠고요. 또 참고로 structural modeling. 이거는 이제 구조 모델링이라고 해서 구조적인 형태를 모형화하는 작업이 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The original form of the Imjin War era turtle ship has been scientifically identified for the first time in more than 230 years through research based on historical literature, naval engineering, and structural modeling. Let's move on to the fourth headline.
A rescue dog in Venezuela has emerged as an unlikely hero after helping emergency crews locate survivors trapped beneath collapsed buildings following last week's devastating earthquakes.
지난주 강진이 발생한 베네수엘라에서 구조대원들에게 붕괴된 건물 잔해 속 생존자의 위치를 알리며 활약한 한 구조견이 깜짝 영웅으로 떠올랐습니다. Okay.
Oh,
Tell us about this dog.
Yeah.
His name is Tsunami.
Right.
Okay.
It's a border collie, a rescue border collie. It's a very heartwarming story. So, this border collie has been hailed as a hero in Venezuela after helping rescue teams locate 12 survivors following the recent powerful earthquake. So this dog has been trained to detect people trapped beneath collapsed buildings, and Tsunami played a key role in finding an elderly survivor buried under the rubble of an apartment building in the capital city, Caracas. And once abandoned and severely abused, this dog was rescued and professionally trained by Venezuelan rescuer George Vince before joining the KSAR ECID disaster response team. And despite being exhausted after the operation, Tsunami is expected to return to rescue work after resting, with many praising her story as a powerful reminder of the value of rescuing abused animals.
Well, is it a her? Sorry, I think I said he earlier on. So Tsunami, the 8-year-old border collie, is a she.
A she, yeah.
I see. 그래요. 이름이 쓰나미고요. 8살 된 보더컬리입니다. 그런데 이제 쓰나미 이 강아지도 예전에 이제 유기가 됐었고, 그래서 구조가 된 그런 강아지예요. 영어로 a rescue dog라고 하면은 이렇게 이제 구조가 된 강아지를 얘기합니다.
Yeah.
물론 이제 지금 이 쓰나미 같은 경우에는 본인도 레스큐가 됐지만 또 지금 이제 다른 사람들을 레스큐하는 그런 구조견 역할도 하고 있어서 두 가지 의미가 다 있을 수는 있는데
Now she's rescuing others.
맞아요. 네, 그럴 때는 이제 a search and rescue dog
Yes.
이렇게 얘기를 하면은 확실히 구조견, 다른 이제 사람들을 구조하는 그런 개를 얘기할 거고, 그냥 a rescue or a rescue dog라고 하면은 이제 그 강아지 자체가 구조가 됐다라는 뜻으로 많이들 이해하거든요. 그래서 그건 참고하시면 되겠고, 쓰나미는 이제 둘 다 해당됩니다. 본인도 구조가 예전에 됐었고, he라는데요?
Oh, it is a he.
he예요?
Okay.
지금 작가님이
I'm sorry. I must have misread the article.
컷이 아니라
Yeah.
수컷이라고. 네. 근데 어쨌든 뭐 영웅이라는 거는
Yes.
불변입니다. 네. 그래서 지금 베네수엘라의 지진 소식을 저희가 지금 며칠째 계속 전해드리고 있습니다. 많은 사망자가 발생했고 또 연달아서 이렇게 지진이 2번 발생하는 바람에 상당한 인명피해가 있었는데 그중에서도 이제 실종된 사람들이 상당히 많다. 그런 얘기도 했었죠. 거기에서 큰 활약을 하고 있는 강아지입니다. 자, 표현을 좀 볼게요. So this dog has emerged as a hero.
Right. When you emerge as something, it means that you've become visible or known, or you've risen out of something. So when it's used as that phrase, emerge as, it means that you've developed or come forth into a specific identity or a role or a status.
자, 무엇으로 부상하다입니다. 그래서 이 강아지가 뜻하지 않게 이렇게 영웅 강아지로 부상하게 됐다. 그렇게 위상이 올랐다? 이런 느낌으로 보시면 될 것 같고요. 근데 그냥 영웅이 아니라 an unlikely hero라고 했습니다. What's that?
Yeah, an unlikely hero is an ordinary or underestimated or flawed, it could be an individual or an animal in this case, who rises to an extraordinary challenge. So it's kind of like a dark horse or an underdog.
그래요. 그래서 뜻밖의 영웅이다라는 뜻인데요. 앞서 말씀드린 이런 배경이 있기 때문이에요. 왜냐면은 그 강아지 본인도 예전에 유기견이었다가 이제 구조가 됐는데 지금 이렇게 최소 12명의 실종자를 찾아내는 엄청난 역할을 했습니다. 그래서 뜻밖의 또 이런 영웅이 나왔다라는 뜻으로 This dog has emerged as an unlikely hero라고 했습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. A rescue dog in Venezuela has emerged as an unlikely hero after helping emergency crews locate survivors trapped beneath collapsed buildings following last week's devastating earthquakes. Let's move on to the final headline.
India has launched a comprehensive air quality improvement plan for the capital region running through 2030, with the Delhi state government offering one-year cash incentives starting today for residents who scrap old vehicles to purchase electric cars.
인도가 2030년까지 시행될 수도권 공기질 개선 종합대책을 발표했습니다. 이에 따르면 델리 주 정부는 오늘부터 기존 차량을 폐기하고 전기차를 구입하는 주민에게 1년간 장려금을 현금으로 지급합니다. All right. So is the air quality going to get better?
We hope so,
Yeah.
because it's apparently one of the strongest clean air policies that the Delhi government has unveiled yet, and it offers cash incentives for residents who scrap their old vehicles to buy electric ones, and it's a plan that will run through the year 2030. So buyers of electric motorcycles, three-wheelers, and small trucks can receive subsidies of up to 100,000 rupees, which equals about $1,200 US, while hybrid vehicles will be excluded. And beginning next year, only electric three-wheelers and small electric trucks will be eligible for registration, with new gasoline-powered two-wheelers to be phased out by the year 2028. And this measure aims to combat some of the world's worst air pollution, with vehicle emissions estimated to be to account for more than half of New Delhi's air pollution.
그래요. 뭐 대기질이 상당히 좋지 않다는 거 우리가 몇 달 전에 또 다른 뉴스를 통해서도 봤었는데 특정 어떤 요일에 전 세계 도시들의 대기질을 확인해 봤더니
Yeah.
탑 10이 다 인도에 있었다. 뭐 그런 뉴스도 있었잖아요.
Yeah.
예, 그럴 정도이기 때문에 좀 강력한 대책을 지금 세우고 있는 것 같습니다. 자, 그다음에는 지금 이제 기존의 대기질을 굉장히 많이 오염시키는 그런 차량을 가진 사람들이 폐차를 시키고 그다음에 전기차를 구입할 경우에 현금을 지급한다고 했어요.
Yeah.
주정부에서. 그 현금이 10만 루피? 우리 돈으로 한 160만 원 정도가 된다고 합니다.
Yeah.
현지 물가로는 상당히 큰 돈일 것 같고요.
It's a lot of money.
네, 큰
And
돈이죠.
sometimes money talks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
그거를 이제 우리말로는 이제 현금 지원금이라고 할 텐데 영어로는 뭐라고 하나요?
Well, they use the term cash incentives. So an incentive is something like a reward. So it's a performance-linked monetary reward that's paid to, it could be customers, employees, and it's to drive a specific or perhaps a desired behavior.
There are other expressions we could use to talk about 지원금 from the government. What could we say?
Like support money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
뭐 이런 다른 표현도 있기는 합니다만 여기서는 사람들로 하여금 움직이게 하는 그런 인센티브다라는 느낌까지 담아서 cash incentives. 그러니까 현금을 줄 테니 기존의 차량은 폐차시키고 전기차를 구입해라.
Yeah.
이렇게 장려하고 있다라는 것까지도 이 표현 안에 다 들어 있습니다. 자, 그 다음에는 scrapping something.
Yeah.
Residents who scrap their old vehicles can receive the cash incentives.
So it's used as a verb, and it means to discard or throw away something as useless.
네, 버린다라는 뜻이고요. 여기서는 차를 폐차시킨다라는 의미로 썼습니다. 자, 다시 읽어볼게요. India has launched a comprehensive air quality improvement plan for the capital region running through 2030, with the Delhi state government offering one-year cash incentives starting today for residents who scrap old vehicles to purchase electric cars. And that's it for the headlines this morning.
Korea's exports in June reached an all-time high of over $102 billion, making it the fourth nation to exceed the $100 billion monthly threshold behind Germany, China, and the U.S.
6월 우리나라 수출액이 1,020억 달러를 넘어서면서 역대 최고치를 기록했습니다. 이로써 한국은 독일, 중국, 미국에 이어 세계에서 네 번째로 월 수출 1,000억 달러를 달성한 국가가 됐습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, guess what the reason is? Semiconductor shipments, of
Yes.
course, led the gains. They jumped 199.5%, so basically doubled on
200%,
year.
yeah.
To $44.82 billion, that exceeding the $40 billion mark for the first time. Exports of computers rose 308.8% to $5.41 billion. Also, SSD demand from some of the big tech terms being a big part of this as well. So, yeah, the tech sector of Korea is taking over the world.
Exactly. Loads of big records there. 여러 가지 이제 최초 기록이 세워졌습니다. 6월 수출이 이제 1,022억 달러를 기록하면서 사상 최초로 1,000억 달러를 돌파하게 된 기록. 그 다음에 이제 반도체 수출 같은 경우에는 488억 달러를 기록했는데요. 이렇게 단일 품목 중에서는 최초로 400억 달러를 상회하는 또 이런 기록을 세우게 됐고, 그 다음에 무역수지 흑자 362억 달러였는데요. 사상 처음 300억 달러를 넘었습니다. Wow, Korea did really well in terms of exports last month.
Yeah, the Korean stock market has been going crazy over the last several months, and certainly more evidence of why.
Yeah. When we talk about these high numbers or stats, we call it a high. We can talk about temperatures having a high as well. But what's an all-time high?
An all-time high is a number that has never been reached before. So they've set a record. They've done something that had not been accomplished. So if we had an all-time high, let's say, of a temperature, then it's the hottest that it has ever been.
Yeah.
We often talk about records in sports. Maybe if somebody hit more home runs, an all-time high in home runs, then they've hit more home runs than anyone has ever hit before in that league. So we often use this for records and other superlatives of something that's never been done before.
All time, 역대. high는 명사고요. 최고치예요. 그래서 역대 최고치, an all time high. 날씨 얘기할 때도 최고 기온을 a high라고 하는데요. 이제 the highs today will range between, let's say, 25 and 35 degrees across the nation. 이런 식으로 표현을 할 수 있죠. 왜냐하면 최고 기온이 각 지역별로, 각 도시마다 다 다르니까 그때는 highs 해가지고 오늘의 최고 기온은 뭐 몇 도부터 몇 도까지 ranging 할 겁니다. 이렇게 얘기를 할 수 있겠고요. What about a monthly threshold?
Well, monthly, we're obviously talking about months and each month of the year. Threshold is the thing in a doorway that you step on to go through the door. So if you think of that as like a passage, and we're talking about going from, let's say, one room to another, you're kind of the threshold is sort of like that in-between entrance. So when you're kind of switching from one situation to another, one room to another, one place to another. And here it's talking about the threshold between $100 billion as their monthly exports. So they weren't in that room before. They weren't in that area that, well, Germany, China, and US was in that room before. But now Korea has crossed the threshold or they've passed the threshold. So now they've entered that room as well. They've gone through the doorway.
Exactly. 이 threshold라는 게 비유적으로는 기준점이라는 의미를 가지고 있습니다. 그래서 monthly threshold라고 하면은 월간 기준점이 되겠네요. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's exports in June reached an all-time high of over $102 billion, making it the fourth nation to exceed the $100 billion monthly threshold, behind Germany, China, and the US. Now let's move on to the second headline.
Fast-moving wildfires are raging in multiple states across the western U.S., forcing the evacuations of entire towns and prompting local governments to issue red flag warnings for high temperatures, low humidity, and strong winds.
미국 서부 여러 주에서 산불이 빠르게 확산되며 맹위를 떨침에 따라 곳곳에서 마을 전체가 대피해야 하는 상황이 벌어지고 있으며 지방정부들은 산불 발생 조건인 고온, 건조, 강풍을 경고하는 산불 적색경보를 발령했습니다. Alright, tell us about the western US. What's going on?
Yeah, we've seen, fires being an issue in California before, and California actually not included in the states this particular time. But we're talking about the areas with Colorado, Utah, Arizona, as well as New Mexico, Wyoming, and even Nebraska. So this area has, as mentioned, been receiving a lot of wind and low humidity, high temperatures, and because of that, they've had some raging wildfires in those areas.
Definitely. Raging wildfires. 그러면은 정말 맹위를 떨치는 그런 산불을 얘기합니다. 이 rage라는 게 사람 기분에 대해서 말할 때는 분노고요. 그다음에 이제 불, 산불에 대해서 얘기할 때는 아주 맹렬히 퍼지고 있다. 이런 뜻이 계속되고 있다라는 뜻이 있고요. 지금 얘기하고 있는 이제 6개 주, 콜로라도, 유타, 애리조나, 뉴멕시코, 와이오밍, 네브라스카에 적색 경보가 내려졌습니다. 그래서 수천 명이 대피를 해야 하는 상황이 됐는데요. 그만큼 산불이 굉장히 파괴력이 좀 있는 모습이죠. Let's have a look at this situation forcing people to leave their homes.
If you are forced to do something, then you do not necessarily want to do that, but something else is making you do that. Maybe your boss is forcing you to work late. You don't want to work late, but your boss says you have to. They're forcing you to do it. In this particular case, people don't want to leave their homes or towns, but this fire, it's forcing them to do it.
그래요. A forces B to do something. 그러면은 A로 인해서 B가 어쩔 수 없이 무언가를 해야 되는 상황이 되는 겁니다. 원래 force는 강요한다는 의미지만 지금 이 기상과 관련된 날씨와 관련된 것은 우리한테 누가 뭐 강요했다기보다는 어쩔 수 없이 그것 때문에 사람들이 대피를 하는 거죠. 그래서 the wildfires have forced so many people to evacuate. What about prompting governments to issue these warnings?
Prompting is like leading you to do something or something that kind of helps you to go in a certain direction and stuff. The thing that I think about most when I see this word, I guess being a broadcaster, is a teleprompter. And that's the thing in front of the camera that news anchors will read as they're speaking.
For television.
Television.
We don't have it.
No, unfortunately
here.
not.
Not for radio.
But typically, it's often used in television, but you can also be prompted to do something, meaning that somebody kind of like they're giving you a signal to say, okay, ready, cue. And then you got your prompt. So this is now. That's the timing that you're supposed to do something. So it's like something that's helping you out or that's leading you to do the thing that you're doing. In this particular case, it's almost like being forced at the same time because they're being prompted. They're being told, once again, because of the fires, that's what's prompting people to leave. That's what's telling people to leave rather than something that's kind of being helpful, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I guess it is being helpful in that it's maybe saving their lives.
Yeah, there are some similarities with to force someone to do something and to be prompted. However, I think with prompt, it's about making a decision. Oftentimes, in this case anyway, the government officials made the decision to issue this warning because of the situation. So prompt라는 게 이제 어떤 결정을 내릴 때 그 결정을 내리도록 한 것이다. 그래서 앞서 얘기한 뭐 어쩔 수 없이 뭐뭐 하게 됐다. Be forced to do something이랑 약간 비슷하지만요. 여기서는 이제 그런 결정을 내렸다라는 것에 좀 더 초점을 초점을 두고 있는 것 같습니다. 그러니까 지금의 이 산불 상황, 그 다음에 이제 대피를 해야 되는 상황이 local governments, 지방 정부로 하여금 red flag warnings라고 하는 산불 적색 경보를 내리는 그 결정을 내리게 했다. 어쩔 수 없이 그렇게 하게 했다도 될 수 있겠지만, 그래요. 여기서는 뭐 대체할 수 있나요? Can we actually change the word prompting local governments to forcing local governments?
I guess you could, or I would say maybe leading.
Leading, okay.
Leading local government is the word I would use.
정말 forcing someone to do something 그러면 정말 어쩔 수 없이 뭐 이렇게 움직이게 되다의 그런 느낌이라면 prompting A to do B라고 하면은 A가 B라는 결정을 내려야겠다라는 그 상황이 있다는 얘기입니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Fast-moving wildfires are raging in multiple states across the western U.S., forcing the evacuations of entire towns and prompting local governments to issue red flag warnings for high temperatures, low humidity, and strong winds.
A generation of young Britons locked out of the 2016 EU referendum due to their age now believe Brexit has failed, with a majority demanding a fresh vote to rejoin, according to new polling of 18 to 28-year-olds.
영국에서 18세에서 28세 연령대를 대상으로 실시한 설문조사에서 2016년 브렉시트 국민투표 당시 나이가 어려서 투표권이 없었던 젊은 세대가 현재 브렉시트를 실패로 보고 있으며 이들 중 대다수가 EU 재가입을 위한 새로운 투표를 요구하고 있는 것으로 나타났습니다. So today's 18-year-olds would have been 8 years old 10 years ago in 2016 when they had the Brexit referendum. 28-year-olds would have also been 18 years old. So maybe they were right at that, cusp of not being able to vote.
Yeah.
Some of them may have, I guess, the people that we're talking about today, they didn't get to vote. They were too young.
They didn't have the chance.
Right.
And they, literally they were locked out of the vote, so to say. But they say that polls have shown that 60% of British Gen Z adults, so 18 to 28, would vote to rejoin the EU if given that chance, compared to just 9% who want to remain out.
Wow.
So yeah, still, what was that? 31% that are abstaining to vote or don't have an opinion, but still 60% compared to 9%. That's a huge gap.
It is
for the people that didn't get a chance to vote.
영국의 Z세대라고 할 수 있겠죠. The Gen Zers. 18세에서 28세. 10년 전 2016년에 브렉시트 국민투표가 있었을 당시에는 투표권이 없지만 지금은 이제 다 성인이 되어 있습니다. 그래서 물어봤더니 이 설문조사에 의하면은 60% 응답자가 EU 재가입에 대해서 찬성이다. 그리고 탈퇴를 유지하는 것에 대해서는 9%만이 찬성한다라고 했다라는 게 대다수가 이제 브렉시트에 반대한다라고 해석을 할 수 있겠죠. 자, 그러면 한번 표현을 보겠습니다. These 18 to 20-year-olds 10 years ago were locked out of the referendum. What does that mean?
If you're locked out, then it literally means that you cannot get in to a place that you would perhaps like to get into. So meaning in this particular case, it means that they couldn't vote, even if they wanted to.
Yep.
They weren't allowed to vote. So imagine, if you're trying to get into your apartment, you don't have keys or you don't know the passcode, you can't get in physically. So in the same sort of way, it means that you are blocked or being prevented from doing something.
Be locked out of something은 무슨 얘기냐면은 만약에 방이나 집의 경우에 I was locked out of my house라고 한다면은 내가 집에 들어가지 못한 거예요. 집에 문이 잠겼는데 내가 키도 없고 뭐 패스워드도 뭐 모른다든지 그러면은 I'm locked out of my house. 방도 뭐 그럴 수도 있겠죠. 방이 잠겨 있어요. 내가 방에 못 들어갔으면 I'm locked out of my room 이럴 수 있는데 자, 28세에서 28세 청년들 같은 경우에는 10년 전에 투표를 하지 못했다는 얘기입니다. They were locked out of the 국민투표 referendum.
I think the expression, it might be a little bit odd for Koreans to hear because it's pretty hard to get locked out of your home because everyone uses digital passcodes. But outside of Korea, or certainly in North America, the vast majority of homes still use a physical key.
Yeah.
So the fact that, I've definitely been locked out of my home on numerous occasions when living in North America.
Yeah.
You get home, you realize, oh no, I forgot my key here, or you can be locked out of your car.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't have your key with you getting into your car, so you have the coat hanger that people try to use to unlock their car. But it might seem a little bit foreign to people that have grown up in Korea, but this is a common occurrence in North America.
뭔가가 잠겨 있어서 내가 들어가지 못한다는 뜻입니다. 즉 여기서는 참여를 하지 못했다는 거고. Now, this time around, these 20 or 18 to 28-year-olds, they are asking for a fresh vote.
Something that is fresh is something that is new. It has not been around for a long time. And then a vote, meaning, hey, let's do the vote all over again. So the fact that they want a fresh vote, let's have a new vote. Let's do it again now because that happened 10 years ago. That's already kind of old and gone and past. Let's do it again.
네, 이 설문조사는 참고로 영국의 싱크탱크인 More in Common이 이제 440명을 대상으로 실시한 조사 결과고요. 그중에 65% 응답자가 62%가 5년 안에 fresh vote, 재투표를 해야 된다. 근데 fresh vote라는 것은 이제 새로운 투표라는 뜻인데요. 여기서는 맥락상 재투표가 되겠죠. 그걸 해야 된다. 이렇게 응답을 했습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. A generation of young Britons locked out of the 2016 EU referendum due to their age now believe Brexit has failed, with a majority demanding a fresh vote to rejoin, according to new polling of 18 to 28-year-olds. Let's move on to the next headline.
A nude painting by Italian artist Amedeo Modigliani has gone under the hammer for nearly $64 million, setting a new record for his work at a European auction.
이탈리아 화가 아마데오 모딜리아니의 누드화 한 점이 경매에서 약 6,400만 달러, 우리 돈으로 1,000억 원에 가까운 가격에 판매됐습니다. 이는 모딜리아니 작품의 역대 유럽 경매 가격 중 최고 낙찰가입니다. It's a famous painting, actually. But tell us more.
Yeah, this is, first off, an awful lot of money.
Yes.
It was bought by a billionaire, obviously. A guy named Joe Lewis from Britain. And, this was painted back in 1917. It has obviously come a long ways and has earned an awful lot of money, too.
그래요. It went under the hammer?
Went under the hammer means that it was sold at an auction. And why is it saying hammer? Well, usually at an auction, it's not actually a hammer. We call it a gavel. Is like that wooden hammer-like thing that judges and auctioneers use to go bang, bang, bang. Sold. So they hit the hammer or the gavel down. It makes a loud sound. And now we know that the price is final. And that's sold. So that's why they say under the hammer. It's basically, it should be gavel, though.
그래요. 이게 낙찰될 때 gavel, G-A-V-E-L, 그 hammer 같이 생긴 거, 그걸 가지고 땅, 땅, 땅 치잖아요. 그래서 sold for 얼마 이렇게 얘기하는데 그 hammer입니다. 그래서 go under the hammer라는 표현 자체가 경매에 붙여지다라는 뜻이 되겠고요. The interesting thing about this particular painting is that before this billionaire bought it, it belonged to Joe Lewis, one of the former owners of the Tottenham Hotspur football teams, or is it teams, groups?
Team.
So it belonged to him, but now obviously a different person owns this painting. What's setting a new record?
Setting a new record is that it has broken a record. We think of like the Guinness Book of World Records on things and something that's never been done before. Earlier, we talked about an all-time high. That was the Korean exports going over $100 billion. It's It can be something like that. Setting a new record is, in that particular case. But yeah, you're doing something that has never been done before.
새로운 기록을 세우다. Set a new record. 이 record와 함께 set가 나오면은 기록을 세우다. break가 나오면은 기록을 깨다. 우리말이랑 똑같죠. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A nude painting by Italian artist Amadeo Modigliani has gone under the hammer for nearly $64 million, setting a new record for his work at a European auction. Let's move on to the final headline.
Scientists have identified a rare, long-necked dinosaur fossil from Antarctica that remained unclassified in a drawer since its discovery in 1985.
1985년에 처음 남극에서 발굴된 이후 제대로 된 분류 없이 지금까지 줄곧 서랍 안에 방치되어 온 공룡 표본이 목이 긴 공룡 티타노사우루스의 희귀한 뼈 화석인 것으로 최근 밝혀졌습니다. Wow. Okay, let's talk about this fossil.
Yeah, it's been kind of just sitting away somewhere for a long time. It has been identified now as the Titanosaur, one of the Earth's largest land animals. You know, the one with a long neck. There's been different names or versions of it that all do have different names, whether it's a Brontosaurus, a Brachiosaurus, a Titanosaurus in this particular case. But yeah, it's roughly 23 feet long, and which actually makes it small for its group, indicating that it was likely a juvenile.
Yeah, that's why initially, for about 40 years, people didn't even know it was a dinosaur fossil. They thought it might be some kind of reptile, a big reptile. But now they've realized, no, actually it was a dinosaur. 그러니까 40년 동안 대형 파충류의 뼈로 생각이 됐었는데 이제서야 밝혀진 게 이게 공룡의 뼈였다는 겁니다. 자, 그러면 화석, 영어로는 fossil.
Fossil, yeah, something that is kind of old from a long time ago that has been usually petrified in some way, shape, or form, meaning that it's been kind of turned to stone because it's so old, or it's seen as something that we maybe didn't know what it was before, and then through studies and archaeology have kind of solved what it is.
그래요. 그러니까 F-O-S-S-I-L, fossil이 나오면 화석이고요. What about an unclassified thing?
Something that is unclassified has not been classified. But when something is classified, it's kind of put into its group or kind of separated to say this is what it is. It's been identified as something part of another group.
Exactly. Classified는요. 어떤 주제로 분류가 되어 있다라는 뜻이 원체 있습니다. 그런데 보통 이제 서류 같은 거를 classified라고 하면은 그게 기밀 서류다라는 뜻이에요. 그러니까 아마 이제 기밀이라는 그룹에 들어간다. 뭐 이런 데서 나온 표현이겠죠. 그렇다면 unclassified는 미분류된 것을 얘기합니다. 이 뼈도 정확하게 뭔지 몰랐으니까 그동안에 미분류 아마도 대형 파충류일 것이다, 라고 하는 그런 이제 뼈로만 생각되어 있었고, 서랍 속에 오랫동안 있었는데, 이제서야, 확실히 분류가 됐습니다. 뼈고, 어떤 공룡의 뼈냐면은,
Titanosaur.
Titanosaur의 뼈인 것으로 드러났습니다. 자, 다시 읽어볼게요. Scientists have identified a rare, long-necked dinosaur fossil from Antarctica that remained unclassified in a drawer since its discovery in 1985. Well, that's it for the headlines with Jason Lee.